This is Live for Love TV. Live for Love TV. Yes, I am.
One step more. One step more. One step more. Until you reach your goals. One step more. Save them soul. One step more. One step more. How good it is to reach the
Live for Love TV. This is Live for Love TV. Live for Love TV.
Welcome back to Live for Love TV. Today is the 20th day of the 7th month of the 21st year of the 21st century. I hope everyone's doing well out there. Today we're going to talk a little bit about nature. On Live for Love TV, we've spoken about nature before, and I've taken you into nature with me with a camera and a video in the past. And if you look back at some of the old videos, you're going to see some of the places I've been with the camera. And I always say, whenever you want some tranquility and some peace, you should go into nature. Now, there's nowhere that I know on the planet, I'm not outside of the desert areas, that, and so I know nobody's going to be listening to me from there. So that way you can't find nature. So there's no excuse. You know, nature is everywhere. And nature, it is something that it's always giving, never takes. Always gives. It's not like us human beings who sometimes we, get on one another's nerves and we put one another down. Nature doesn't do that. Nature's always giving. You can sit down in nature, even on a bad day, and just have some pleasant thoughts and feel good to yourself. So I'm always speaking about nature. Today I'm going to speak about the map, the world map. And if you look on a world map, you see the equator running right through the center of the earth, meridian lines, as you know. You're also going to see a line where it's above the equator, Cancer and Capricorn. I'm not sure which one's above, which one's, I don't want to mix it up right now, but there's two lines, one above the equator and one below, and that's called Cancer and Capricorn. And anything in between Cancer and Capricorn is called the tropics. So when you hear the word tropics, that's what it means. In between these two lines is a tropic. So if you look on a map, anywhere along that, you'll see whether it's the Caribbean, whether it's most of Africa, not all of Africa. The tips of South Africa and North Africa are not inside, so they can get quite cold. Many parts of America, like Florida and Atlanta and all, they're inside. Obviously, Central America is inside. So most of what we call Western Europe is outside of that. The reason I bring up the tropics and the tropics right now is because medical science has told us and shown us for many years that the healthiest people are inside those two lines. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't live to 100, 110, 115 outside those lines and you cannot be reasonably healthy. That's not what I'm saying. We're just doing it's just a generalization that we see when it comes to certain diseases, heart disease, prostate cancer. You mentioned the disease, it always seems to be more severe and, more dominant outside of the tropics. Now, we know through science throughout the past that life began inside the tropics and people have migrated outside the tropics. Now, the tropics is a place where, as far as I'm concerned, it's where everyone, and usually when you hear people saying they're going on vacation, if they live outside the tropics, they're going to the tropics. It's amazing, isn't it? Very few people take their vacations to outside the tropics, but they do. They go for skiing, vacations, and other things who are outside the tropics. But mostly, people are somewhere in the tropics, somewhere hot. Right now, you can see I'm sweating. I mean, that's what you do. You don't need saunas when you're in the tropics because the natural sweat comes out of you constantly. You don't have to be doing anything. It just comes out. The oils come out, and the impurities come out. We sit in saunas in outside the tropics constantly to get those impurities out. So nature has already done that for us. We don't have to actually manipulate it the way we do when we're not inside of the tropical areas. So I'm saying that we need to spend more time in the tropics, regardless of what anyone tries to tell you. We go to the gyms, We go to the saunas. We do all the stuff that we can do to stay as healthy and as fit as we can when we're not in the places that we were made to be in, I say. And I'd say that's everyone. That doesn't mean just because you're from you're an African background, descent, that you have to be in the tropics. I think everybody fares better in the tropics. Constantly when people retire in the state of New York, I'm talking about people in general, Europeans, anyone, people are sent to go to places like Florida because it extends their life. Many people who live in the UK and Canada, as they get older, they decide they want to go home because they feel like they just feel better when they're in the tropics and they wake up to the sun and they wake up to the heat and all the beautiful, beautiful things you see in nature, and the natural food and, all that stuff. So it's important, I think, that when you're dealing with health, that you take it very seriously. It's not always possible for you to be in the tropics. That I know and that I accept. But for a lot of people, it is possible. But they have to have a mind shift. They have to accept that they can run marathon after marathon after marathon. But if they were in the tropics, maybe they'd have to run that little bit shorter in order to stay just as healthy. So I'm always advocating that people head towards these Capricorn and Cancer in between there to live. And I'd rather people try to live in these areas. And if they want to have a vacation outside of it. So you spend most of your days inside of these areas. Now we know that a lot of the jobs are outside of the tropical areas. A lot of the major players right now in the world and the big places are maybe outside of that. So people have to go there for work. So this is not an everybody and all the time thing. But this is something that our young people must start to think about. Because, many of people like my parents and many other people, they spent their early days inside the tropical region. And that's what's given them their longevity, whether people realize it or not. If you're growing up with such great food, straight out of the ground, coconuts, just general oranges and all this beautiful stuff you're growing up with, along with, good health, vitamin D, all that they had, you've got a great start. You've started off with an amazing start in life, which is the same start that the people who were original people on this planet would have started with. But a lot of people who are born outside the tropics, they're not going to make it to the ages that many of their parents did. And I'm sorry to say that, especially if they don't head to the tropics, because what's going to happen is they haven't had a good start. The food that they've been eating is probably artificial almost from day one. Even the good stuff they eat, the bananas, and if they can get some tropical food, has been picked so early in order for it to ripe when it gets to those places that it either has no taste or that most of its nutrition has died. So it's just the way it is. It's how we have to live. I understand it. But if you have that intellect and that consciousness, you need to head to these places because these are the places that your ancestors came from. And I don't care what race you are, your ancestors came from inside the tropics. So there must be something there as to why life started there, whether you believe that God put it there or nature put it there, or just it's some sort of evolution. There must be a reason as to why life was able to flourish there more than anywhere else. Yeah, we're strong and we can live outside, but we need to get back to the tropics as much as we can. We need to get back to our natural food as much as we can. We need to spend more time slowing down, not running around trying to chase our own tails, just in order to get 2 weeks a year or maybe 3 weeks a year on a beach somewhere. That's good when you can get it. But what about having 40, 48, 50 weeks of the year in that environment? And then maybe spending some time outside to go and see people. That's what I would advise for health and for well-being, mental well-being, along with emotional well-being. So I'm just talking about that today because I'm so close to nature today. I'm always, as I said, even in the UK, it doesn't matter where I am, I'm always with nature. I'm looking out here, I can see coconuts to my left here. I see bamboo over there. So I can see, what am I looking at? Mint bush right there. Bougainvillea plants, which anybody from the Caribbean will know are some of the most beautiful plants that they have. So it's wonderful. It's wonderful. And as you can see, pouring with sweat. So sauna free today. But the impurities hopefully are coming out. So I'll see you again soon. And I'm going to be back with some more interesting information here on Live for Love TV. Take care of yourselves.
People. One step more. One step more. One step more. One step more until you reach your goal.